Hello, everybody. I'm Stephen Xiarhos, proud to be your state representative in the 5th Barnstable District, which is 52,000 people in the towns of Sandwich, Bourne, and Barnstable. This is my second term, and I appreciate everybody out there that believes in what we do. I'm proud to be your state rep, and I thought it'd be good to go over some of the things that are coming up in the next 2 years. So remember, a state representative is elected every 2 years. So I finished the 2 years in December, and now we have a new session. I was sworn in January. The beginning, it was an amazing day with Governor Baker and 160 of us getting sworn in together. And then I was able to watch Governor Baker leave, which happens rarely, where they open the front doors of the State House, the People's House in Boston. That only happens when a president comes to visit or when the governor leaves for the last time. They call it the last walk. So Governor Baker walked through the State House on a red carpet with Lieutenant Governor Polito and walked out the door. And I was right there. It was very special. And then the next day, to be back in the People's House and watch our new governor, Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, walk in the building, get sworn in, and say hello to them and wish them the best. So it's very exciting. I find it fascinating to be a state representative. If you remember, I was a police officer for 40 years in Yarmouth, and decided to run for this position to be your voice and to try to make differences in your lives. So here's our second term, and I thought it's important to let you know that there's a lot going on. And right now it's bill filing season. So in the beginning of your term, you get to file bills. And I filed 28 that I wrote and got through, and now they're on the list. And can you imagine 160 representatives and 40 senators from all over the Commonwealth? They all have bills. So there are 7,000 bills that have been filed. And now we have about a year and a half to go through all the bills, have hearings, and see which ones will make it to the next step. And I encourage you to watch that. You can go on the website and kind of watch your bills or your representative or your senator throughout the process. It's very interesting. It's all open. You just go to the Mass Legislator website, and when we're in session, it's live. And watch the bills, because if you have a special interest in 1 or 2 or 10, see how they go. It's very important. Some of the ones that I wrote that I think are very important, with my background in safety, public safety, also military. I am the grandson of a veteran, World War I veteran. I'm the son of a just after World War II veteran. My dad, he served in the Army Air Corps, and he served in the Air Force right down the street at Otis Air Force Base, which is now Joint Base Cape Cod. And then you might remember I am a Gold Star father, sadly. I lost my son, Nicholas, a Marine, in Afghanistan in combat. So public safety, military, some of my strengths. And when I see a need to make us safer, we file bills and we try to get them passed. So some of them that are very appropriate for this area is school safety from all over, the Commonwealth. But especially here on Cape Cod, I believe in school resource officers. I believe every school should have a school resource police officer, which Cape Cod does, and it's great, but that's not common all over the Commonwealth. We should do everything we can to keep our children and the teachers safe. And having a school resource officer, which is a police officer from the local community, that's specially trained as a school resource officer, is a great way to keep people safe and build relationships with the children and the staff. I did it for 7 years at DY High School, and I loved it. And those kids that were my friends who I protected years ago, they're now all adults and they're my friends now, and I get to meet their kids. So school safety, school resource officer is a big thing, and I have a bill that's trying to get that in every school. So parents and grandparents can feel when they send their child off to school that they're in a secure environment. That's called the School Resource Officer Bill. Another one that came right out of Sandwich is a bill that would strengthen the law to protect school officials and especially sports referees. We had an incident in Cohasset recently where a student attacked a referee and everybody saw it. And that currently is a crime, but it is not arrestable. So today in Sandwich or Bourne or Barnstable or Boston, if someone assaults a teacher or a superintendent or a nurse or a sports official, it is a crime, but it is not arrestable. So the bill that I have would make that a crime that gives the police the power to arrest if they choose to. And that was something I thought of, but also the Sandwich School Committee did. So it's pretty special to have them reach out to their rep and have me write some laws and now try to get them passed. I would appreciate your support as that goes through the process. And a couple of other ones that I think are important, there's a lot, but some of the other ones that I've crafted, it's called Titania's Law. That was my neighbor, this beautiful 19-year-old girl who suffered from addiction, and a lot of people do. I have family members myself, you may also. And we did everything we could to help her, and she was getting better, but one day she took a pill that she thought was Percocet, and it actually was fentanyl, and it killed her. And I'll never forget the call from her dad, and we filed a bill in her memory. And what it basically says is if you get caught selling this deadly poison, fentanyl, heroin, it's poison, that you cannot be bailed out. You need to be held in the police station until court. Right now, if you get arrested for selling fentanyl, you pay $40 fee to the bail commissioner and you walk out of the police station. And I think we should send a message that if you're selling that poison, that when you get caught, you need to be held at least until the next sitting of the court, which is usually the next day, and let a judge decide what to do with that person. And another one that's appropriate for this area, the town of Sandwich has asked me to file special legislation, they call it, to allow the town to go into an agreement with Joint Base Cape Cod, which is right next door, and actually part of it is in Sandwich, to handle wastewater, right? That's a huge topic. And under this bill, if we can get it approved, you can legally go into an agreement to take some of the wastewater from Sandwich and let it be treated at the wastewater treatment plant that already exists at Joint Base Cape Cod. So that's kind of a taste of what goes on. There's all kinds of bills, all kinds of laws that you can propose. And we're the ones that do it. We make laws, and they're very hard to make, and they should be, because when you make a law, it means a lot, such as the Nero Law, you might remember. That was the reason why I left policing, the job I loved. I was there when Sean Gannon was murdered, and his dog, Nero, the Yarmouth police dog, was shot in the head, April 12th, 2018. So if you remember that day, that was my officer, that was our dog, and I'll never forget it. And that's why I ran for office. That was the trigger that did that. And wrote a bill and fought through the system to make it law, and we did. And that's an example of taking a tragedy and turning it into something special. So in Sean Gannon's memory, and in Nero's honor, who's alive and lives with the bullet still in him. Now, if a police dog is injured in the line of duty, the EMTs and the paramedics can legally treat it, and they can legally put it in an ambulance and bring it to the closest veterinary hospital. It's pretty special to have an idea and make it a law. We did it, and I'm proud of that. And it's been used twice, sadly. A state police canine named Frankie was shot to death by a violent criminal, very similar to the Sean Gannon situation. That was in Fitchburg. In that case, they were able to treat the dog, put it in an ambulance, and try to save its life. I'll never forget that day, because that was the first time that a law was used to save an animal. And we used it again a month ago, where a state trooper was run into in his cruiser. He was injured, and his canine was injured. It almost bit its tongue off because of the crash. And they were able to take the trooper to the hospital in an ambulance and take the canine to the hospital in an ambulance. And that's because of the Nero law. It's because of Sean Gannon. It's because of Canine Nero, and it's because of government, and that's how it works. So I'm hoping to pass some more laws. And another one that's very important to me, it's called Matt's Law. And what that is a real-life case here in Massachusetts where a corrections officer named Matt Tidman was on duty in a prison, and a prisoner attacked him with a steel bar, part of the exercise equipment in the jail. And he crushed his skull, beat him almost to death. And that prisoner was a convicted murderer, and he attacked this corrections officer. He's been charged with that crime, but that case really touched my heart. And I met with the Tidman family, and we filed a bill. It's called Matt's Law, which would make it where any prison in the Commonwealth can have exercise equipment, because the inmates should have the ability to exercise, but they shouldn't be able to make weapons out of it, where they could attack a corrections officer or a fellow inmate. So it's kind of common sense. Have exercise equipment, but don't let it be used as a weapon. You have to make it secure, such as here in Barnstable. There are no free weights in the Barnstable County Prison. It's exercise equipment that cannot be used as a weapon. I'd like to make that state law in honor of Matt Tidman, who lived. He's had, I think, 12 surgeries to try to replace his skull. And I talk to his dad and his brothers all the time. And that's an example of trying to turn a tragedy into triumph. So those are some of the bills. There's a lot more. And there's a lot more that goes on, right? We have to build 2 new bridges. And that's a huge issue. And they're both in our district, the 5th Barnstable district, which is pretty special to have 2 federal bridges in a district. So I'm involved with that as your state representative, working with the Bourne Select people, the Sandwich Select people, the state officials, and the federal officials, Congressman Keating, Senator Markey, Senator Warren, to try to get the federal government to help pay for those bridges and then get going. And the reason why basically is those bridges will be 100 years old very soon. They cost millions of dollars every year that we pay to keep them safe, but they're really too old and they're too narrow. You probably all go through it. You know, you're inches away from either hitting a curb or you got to be careful that we don't cause a head-on collision, because those bridges were designed in the 1920s. They were built in the 30s, and we need to replace them. So I'm involved with that, getting the funding, getting the designs. You are too, as citizens, you can participate in that. And if you ever have any questions, reach out and we'll get you the answers. That's what they call the project of a lifetime. It could take 10 to 20 years. And that's very important to us who live on the Cape, and especially people that live in Sandwich and Bourne, because we use those bridges multiple times every day. Also, wastewater is a big issue, our environment, coastal erosion, drinking water, all those issues I have parts of in conjunction with your town officials and state officials and federal officials. It's fascinating, and I love to hear your thoughts and opinions. We have a machine gun range, right, at Joint Base Cape Cod. It's already there. They want to expand it, and that's a big issue for our military and the people that live in the neighborhood. And we're waiting for the outcome of the Environmental Protection Agency to get their input on it. So that's something that we're still working on. And then, obviously, I think, our utility bills, our food bills, those are issues that come to me, and we do our best to try to help you. And we should. And then another one, remember, is addiction. There's a lot of people struggling, and we lose people every day from this horrible disease and this horrible addiction. I believe the people are being poisoned, and we need to stop that, and we need to help those recover. And you should know that every Monday night, right here in the town of Sandwich, every Monday night, parents supporting parents meet. And that's a great resource for people, whether you're a parent or a sibling or a grandparent. Check them out, Parents Supporting Parents, every Monday night, right here in Sandwich, in person or virtual, because you're not alone. And I have a big heart for those issues as well. And a little bit more about me, I think it's important that we communicate. So by doing TV shows, but also I do a weekly report. Not everybody does that, but we do. Every week we send out a report on some of the highlights of the week, and then every month we do it, and then of course every year we do it. So please follow me on Facebook and Twitter. That's where everything is. And then if you'd like, we can email it to you as well. You should know what your state rep is doing, and if you watch for our weekly reports, monthly reports, yearly reports, they're there. And then join me for coffee with your rep. It's something that we do on the first Friday every month. We've been doing it for 2 years. We'll keep doing it forever. We try to pick a different location. I try to highlight small businesses in the district and have coffee and talk. And then next month, we'll do it at a different place. So we just got done with the one recently at the Greek Cafeteria Express. Now we'll pick a new one, and I'd love to see you there. It's a great way to talk and learn from each other. And then we also do office hours every last Friday for 2 years, and we'll keep doing it, where I hit Barnstable, Bourne, and Sandwich and have people come and talk. But regardless of all that, if you need me, just call. We have a phone number that is important that you call, and an email address. And one of the challenges is there's so many ways to reach out. I don't want to miss you. So please call the State House address, our phone number, and use the State House email. The phone number is 617-722-2014. If you call that number, we track that number and we'll get back to you. And the email that you should use is steven.exaros@mahouse.gov. That's important. Everything goes there, is tracked, and then we can work with you. If it goes to different ones, sometimes it's hard to track those and see those in a timely manner. And I think also I'd like to mention some of the current events that are happening that are pretty important. You should know that in Sandwich, you have a food pantry, and anyone that needs help, don't be embarrassed. It's a way to supplement what you need. So you have your Sandwich food pantry, you have a Bourne food pantry. I go to them all the time. I work with them. I try to get them what they need. But also brand new in Sandwich, the old Sandwich police station has been converted into a veterans food pantry. And that was a nonprofit called the Massachusetts Military Support Foundation, where I volunteer. I've been doing that for 5 years. They're based out of Joint Base Cape Cod, right here. And we just took that Sandwich police station that was in rough shape and we flipped it. And we spent money and donations. And right now, any military family, veteran, active duty, Gold Star family like mine who lost someone in war, anyone can go there. It's free, completely free. And you basically go through the building. It's like a little supermarket, and you can pick out whatever food, you can pick out clothes, you can pick out baby supplies, and it's free every week. So please remember that. Check out Massachusetts Military Support Foundation. Click on the link, sign up, and go every week and get things that can help you and your family. It's all free, and we want to make sure we use it. Part of that is coats for vets. I brought a coat. We get these brand new beautiful coats and we give them out all over Cape Cod. I've been to just about every VFW, every Legion, the Legion Post in Sandwich, the VFW in Bourne, and all over the state. I've been everywhere. I just got back from going to Revere. I've been to Chelsea, New Bedford, bringing these coats to make sure nobody is out walking around or out with a coat that is too old or worn out. Let's give everybody a brand new warm winter coat. They're free. And those are just some of the things that we kind of do to help people on the side. And then I'd like you to know about something that's kind of personal to me. You know, I did lose my son Nicholas in war. There are a lot of families like mine. I haven't seen Nick in 13 years since I gave him a hug at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And he came home to us in a flag-draped coffin. And I think it's important that we try to remember Gold Star families. There's a lot on Cape Cod. And it's important that we try to give back. So in Nick's memory, we do a blood drive every year with Cape Cod Hospital. Nick was born at Cape Cod Hospital. He was wounded in battle, and he basically bled to death in Afghanistan. So we try to get blood to help people here on Cape Cod. So if you can, we have a blood drive. It's on Nick's birthday. So February 11th and February 12th is blood drive weekend. And on that day, we try to get people to donate blood. It's the gift of life. Here's the flyer. It's all done in Yarmouth. It's easy to do. But also on Nick's birthday, he would have been 35. We lost him at 21. So in his honor, we give out $35,000 to different groups all over the Cape that are trying to help others. So we raise money and we give it away. And it's always done on Nick's birthday, which is February 12th. So anything you can do to help people, that's kind of who we are. I try to serve with my heart. And if you ever need anything, you know, please come to me and let me try to help you. It's a beautiful thing when you can change people's lives. I take it serious, and I'm proud to be your state representative. Thank you for listening and watching. God bless.